Into the crack house. Into the crack house. Into the crack house. Into the crack house.
On that note, welcome to Minisode 51. I am your host, Fritz, joined as always by co-host Mandaddy.
Hi.
Angela.
Hello.
And Kaz.
Friend.
Our story begins in the mind of the computer.
They don't have minds.
They do now.
I thought you were going to say Mind of Mencia.
That's valid because he's a delight. I mean,
He is
you know?
holding copies in his hand.
Oh!
You mean me or Mind of Mencia?
Now, both.
You see, Mandaddy and Kaz a couple of minisodes back, you got into a bit of a tiff about whether or not a computer has a soul. So if a computer dies, whether or not something can control the data on top of it.
What?
I don't
So
remember.
Kaz's argument was, unless it's written into the code of that PCM, it will not behave in a certain way. Mandaddy's question really was just, but can it? And Kaz had one of those Simpsons, long answer yes with an if, short answer no with a but. And he went into the different scenarios. So this is from Quartz.com, and the article is called, Could AI Allow You to Live Forever? This came out September 11th, 2018, and shout out to Alan McBride from the Florida News Network. He was the one who actually printed this out and said, Hey, Fritz, I've got something for you.
Oh, that is so cool.
This is literally something printed out and handed to me.
What a fine gentleman.
He's awesome, and he loves the NASA program
He
at
does.
Mars. Anyway,
I've gotten so many conversations with him about that.
we could talk about him forever. So it starts off with a hit-and-run death where this friend who was in her late 20s found herself just kind of rereading old text conversations between herself and this individual. And she was sad, but at the same time, she remembered, because just 2 years before her friend's name was Roman, before his untimely death, she actually started this website called Luka, Luka. And Luka is...
She lives on the second floor.
Yeah. It's a part of this emerging communication hub online called Augmented Eternity.
Ooh.
So what Luka is she was reading so many of these old texts. She started, so she used Luka to form this startup that was just based on AI chatbots. So she got this Yelp competitor to like text for like restaurant recommendations. So basically, you just hit a couple check marks, and then it would, in your kind of pattern of speech, it would give a pretty personal recommendation or opinion of this restaurant. She decided to come up with RomanBot. Now, RomanBot is something a little different in that everything you've written is uploaded to a computer, almost like a godhead. And over time, just as human beings do, when the information processor, the brain, goes, you'll be able to copy it over and implement it into another hardware. So your thoughts and your actions can live forever through the cloud, basically.
But would you be static? Like, would you have room for personal growth?
Well, that's the thing, right? No, because how bots are evolving at a pretty much constant rate, it's able to look ahead, as algorithms do, for future patterns.
I don't like that.
That will correlate to how you were thinking before you died, and it will actually evolve the conversation to either agree or to evolve. Imagine a chatbot. Let's say I have a son. He's 12 years old, and I'm dead. Now he's 32. He's talking to me online. I went vegan. Oh, that's great. Like, it's me talking to him.
So to me, it seems like it's a little bit. It's. Is it mimicry or is it you? Right? Like if I get a parrot that is extremely smart and is going to live for 200 years, and I sit it next to you, and it learns how you speak and what you would say, and we talk all day long, 30 years, whatever, and then you die. And then I'm talking to the parrot, and the parrot can repeat back the same kind of things we would say to each other. and is that you? Like, did your mind live on because the things you would say went into this thing that will spit them back out at me when I request them in a certain way? Like, what is the you? You know, is it yourself?
What is the you?
They
You.
So they have something right now that can actually try to create chaos in a sense that it will evolve mindsets. So as of right now, like human beings are malleable, you can change an opinion overnight, kind of thing. If like almost if you're like cyberbullied enough from beyond the grave.
Cyberbullied from beyond the grave.
It's
Got a
good,
new horror movie genre.
Oh, yeah.
Starring Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie.
Hey, come on, they're trying to work things out. Let them be.
I feel like it would be
there you
like
go.
Hillary Duff and like
She's still a thing?
what was the guy?
She is now.
He was a
Thanks,
heartthrob. Ryan Phillippe.
Oh, Ryan Phillippe was so dreamy.
That's another
Jesus Christ.
used to be
he
thing.
was pre Justin Timberlake hair before Justin Timberlake.
The
This is
ramen
true.
hair?
Yeah,
That's true.
ramen hair. He was doing ramen hair early.
Cruel intentions.
Cruel Intentions.
Or like
Points.
curl intentions, am I right?
Hi-yo.
Dickens, Charles Dickens. No,
No, yeah. Tale of Two Intentions.
Cities. Two intentions.
there you go.
I have two intentions, that's
There-
it.
There are companies as of right now who are trying to make your digital profile live forever.
That would
That's
be cool.
Cool and terrifying simultaneously. You know, the thought that after you die in the future, you could be having a facsimile of you talking to your grandson and you're trying to give advice from the grave, but then every it's like, well, son, I want you to grow up and remember to drink Pepsi. But, just what are they going to do with that
Damn.
information in the
I
future?
didn't
They
think
could,
about that.
we're all
That's
sponsorships
gnarly.
now.
I was thinking this, Dad, I'm going to get married next Thursday, and your credit is done. Your account is donezo. Upgrade, or else we're going to unplug your dad again. It's like, oh,
Please, son,
Unplugging
no.
dad
Please,
again.
son. Don't let them
terrible.
do it to me
People
again.
have had dad unplugged. We rarely get dad unplugged
It's just like a Black
twice.
Mirror
It's
thing, right?
definitely
Why?
like a Black Mirror
why
episode.
was I
Black Mirror.
programmed
Yes.
to feel
We're in a
pain?
Black Mirror episode.
I
Can we all
know.
admit
Oh,
that?
yeah.
In
Yeah.
every way, we're in a
entire
Black
life
Mirror
is a
episode at
fucking
this
Black
point.
Mirror.
But I've also watched Westworld so much
It's
and
very-
Ex Machina, so I'm just like, I'm so stuck in all of that.
I was
where
gonna say it's very. It's the scene with, and all of them are like two different people in that fucking show. So when he imagines Anthony Hopkins, you know what I mean? Would you rather your memory of this person exist or like a mimicry, a database of things that you would say and would get spit out? You want to have like the inspirational, like, what would my dad do in this situation?
Yeah.
Like,
right,
then he'd,
and you
like,
actually,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this Quartz article actually mentions Black Mirror and mentions the plot of Be Right Back.
Was it the name of the one with the
that was the
playa,
one.
whatever?
Yep. So
The like special like
The hard touching
Town.
one.
Black Mirror is
so-
all over that shit. So there you go.
Wow.
What you got for us, Angela?
Well, did you guys know that global warming is actually somehow affected with, or global warming affects the axis of our Earth?
I did not know that.
Yes. So
Son
it's
of a
ac-
bitch.
Like,
so
what do you mean? Like, how much we
We're
Tilt.
tilted.
We're tilting
correct.
too much. That's
Angle.
the fucking
Tilted.
problem.
So
It's my beard.
it's
Sorry.
making it
Dude,
like tilt
the other way.
And so it's also like, and India's also like shrinking in a way as well. It's super crazy. So the polar rotation of the planet has been shifting in recent decades due to the melting of the giant ice sheets of Greenland and
Makes
Antarctica.
Huh.
But also, groundwater levels on the Indian subcontinent have been so badly depleted by climate change, so like irrigation and population growth, so using up all the groundwater. And that has also caused the Earth to tilt on its axis as well.
Are you
So they're
kidding
trying
me?
up India, and
It's
it's
literally, like,
making it lighter on that
Losing
side.
weight.
Oh,
Wow.
God. Oh,
And
God.
they're actually thinking of the pole, like the North Pole, being like near London. Like it's shifting so
Jesus
much that it's just
Christ.
like being weighed down on
That's
one
why
side.
everything's so fucked up all the time.
So you said
We're-
because
we're
of
twisting out of axis.
Well, we already talked about the shifting of the magnetic poles.
So if you-
How there's a chance that could happen. If that happens, then we truly are fucked. In every way.
in every way.
Smile.
and just to go back to that, what was that? That was like
That
basically-
happens every like 33,000 years or something like that, and we're way overdue for it. And there's been different signs. And the guy we talked about, what's his name? I can't think of the name.
Etch-a-Sketch.
Etch-a-Sketch, yes, Sir Etch-a-Sketch, who had the premonition, said that that one was coming up. And when that happens, if it did happen, they theorize that basically it's like a giant worldwide EMP. Like basically,
Jesus Christ.
all electronics would be, or not even just electronics, just anything that uses electricity or just uses a connectivity of anything would just be shot since the poles are now reversed. And also, it would stop shielding us from a lot of the solar radiation. And so, without that,
So it's
we
bad.
basically get cooked.
It's
yeah,
bad. It's
Yeah.
not
Bad
good.
stuff. Bad stuff.
Pretty terrible.
So
But luckily, it's just a hoax.
this is climate change based on like human levels of consumption. Like it's been happening fast and
Like
it's
eating
throwing
humans?
the planet off.
Yes, like eating humans, exactly.
What
like
you
a
say?
bold-
We
the
need
vast
to eat.
human
We
grazing
need to eat
lands.
humans
So-
because we have too many of them,
there we
and
go.
that way we depopulate and we don't have to worry about having livestock and everything. We are the livestock,
No
so we
one's
just need to
gonna,
have
like-
a lottery system.
The only people that are going to really be upset about that are the human butchers, right? Like, other than that, you walk to the grocery store, there's
Yeah.
a pack of meat, you pick it up, you go
Right.
home, you cook it, it's gray, you eat it.
Well, also, then do you have to pardon all the past like cannibals that are in the jail right now? Like,
How
is
many?
that-
I don't
What's
know.
the size of them? I mean, what is the cannibal population?
just make
know.
them into the
I didn't
they're
look
the-
that up before making that joke.
Yeah.
So, where,
Like,
so where does this story come from?
This
Science.
Science. I mean,
Math.
I'm reading this from The Independent. And this was from actually 2016.
oh,
So
fake
they've been
news.
looking at this for a couple years now. And so global warming is caused by many things, industry, cow farts, everything. So too many people causing a lot of awful things on this planet. And so if you think about it, with Greenland melting, all that weight with that water over on that side and Antarctica, and then you have India that's actually becoming lighter, and then all the precipitation in the air. I mean, everything's shifting. All this weight shifting. It's going to like tilt the Earth, possibly.
over a long period of time. This isn't like happening
like the next like
February.
6 years. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. But it's a shift, though.
You got
it's
about
still-
6 good ones, and then
Yeah, woo!
Yeah, but
we're going to go for a little topsy-turvy.
so all of this weight being evaporated off Antarctica and Greenland in just a couple of years, it seems like it's never happened that fast before that the Earth couldn't compensate for it. Like
No,
it seems like
so-
the Earth has been spinning around the sun for like what 13 billion years, a long fucking time.
The
And-
pace is going to be pretty fast.
Yeah, that is
Compared-
insane.
Yes. But I did also watch something on
Jesus Christ.
Vice News recently of what is it called? Geoengineering, of people basically trying to save the Earth and all the different things they're doing.
Yeah.
And it made me feel so happy. Like, oh, there are people out there trying to save us. Like they're
God.
actually
Right.
Yeah.
kind of on Plan B now.
And there's people trying to
that's
stop
scary.
them.
Yeah.
That's what's scary to me. It's like, of course there should be human beings, but there are people that are actively trying to stop
Yeah.
these people that all they want to do is save us and give us clean air and clean water. And that makes me so freaking mad that that's now a liberal agenda to want clean air and water.
And here's the thing. These people
Hippie.
don't actually want to do this, right? They don't want
Yeah.
this to be something that we're
They just
having
know
to
they
do
gotta.
because that means we failed. You know, like they've been trying to get us to not get us to this point, and
Right.
now they actually might be having to do their stuff. So one of the things they're doing is about reflection of UV rays away. So there's someplace in, gosh, I forget where it was, but they're actually putting this reflective sand on the glaciers.
Nice.
So it would actually repel the sun back into the atmosphere.
Won't that just
Amazing.
piss off the sun?
So mad.
We can't worry about what the sun's feeling right now.
Karma,
We got our own
bitch.
shit going on.
Karma, son.
This will learn you.
I'm offended, Mandaddy, that you would even say that.
What am I, a sunist?
Yes.
And then people are actually also taking seawater and salt water and like making it like a vapor and putting more clouds in the sky.
Oh,
So that kind of shades it a little bit in some areas and
that's a
increases the
double-edged
cloud
sword,
coverage.
though.
Well, so all these things have their pros and cons,
Yeah.
of course. But so and everything obviously has to be done in balance, so don't go too crazy with it. But it's actually everything they're doing is usually cheap, easy, not that many pros, like not that many cons to anything, and but all they need is just the funding for people to let them do it and the approval.
Well, we got way too many wars for that. Come on.
I know.
where's
I know.
Leonardo DiCaprio when you really need him?
Hanging out with supermodels in
On
a
a
hot
yacht,
tub.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sleeping in a bear.
God, you guys had answers very quickly.
We hang out with Leo a lot.
Like maybe he's pooping or
With a supermodel. He does everything with the supermodel, no matter what.
Just makes her stand there while he poops. Like,
Hey,
you know what the fucking deal was when you came over?
it's like a demerit.
It talks
Aviana.
talks about the polar ice caps melting.
he takes his headphones off and he goes, "Can you give me more double A batteries?" Just stares
Leo,
at him.
those are not green.
Leo does not use batteries. You know that everything is solar powered in his
I don't
house.
know
Come
that.
on.
He has like
I want to
immense
believe, but-
rooms filled with the lemons and the pennies and the little electrodes and shit.
Potato-
Just goes in there
potato
and salts
clocks.
it up and yeah.
What do you have for us, Kaz?
So nothing as dire or serious as that. Two quick video game tidbits. So this one kind of brings the whole crew in. There was going to be and still might be, according to this article, a Stranger Things Telltale video game. So I don't know if you ever played the Telltale games.
Oh, yeah. They're
the
fun.
Walking Dead one.
Did they just screw over a lot of their employees or something like that?
So that's what they basically. That's part of the story.
Oh,
Telltale
sorry.
shuttered.
Shut up, man.
And
Damn it. I'm too informed.
Let him get
fired
there.
all but 25 of their employees.
Damn.
But
From how many? Do you know? Or it just
8
says
billion.
Yeah.
and it sounds terrible. And every time this happens, like everybody's like, "Oh my god, the poor people." It happens if you are a video game employee, you understand going in. This place is 2-3 years away from getting shuttered. I'm gonna have to get a new job, go somewhere else. I mean,
Is it union or
no. And
Okay.
I tried to start a union actually in the QA, and I got I got pulled aside and told I'm not allowed to do that. So yeah, you can't talk unions over there.
No, that's the bad word. Yeah,
Right.
it's like I don't understand it, but I get it.
Well, it happened. We went to as a group to go to Backyard Burger for lunch, and they had a sign out front that was like $10.25 an hour, and we're sitting in a car of dudes who make like $8 an hour, and we're like, dude, we test video games, and these guys are working at Backyard Burger. They make like $2-3 more than us. Like, we just quit and go to fucking Backyard Burger tonight. So anyway,
Did you?
That was my.
Did you?
No, God no. Fuck Backyard Burger.
Hey, that's a tasty burger.
I mean, it's good. I'm not gonna work there.
Wow.
I'm not gonna work there.
Personal.
the black and blue is good, man.
So anyway, the Telltale games were similar to if you ever played the old Escape from Monkey Island games. They were these like point and click adventure. There's not a whole lot of action going on. You're kind of investigating and clicking around and doing things. So the whole shtick for this studio is that they were getting licenses. So they had like a Back to the Future one was one of the first ones they did, and then it was like The Walking Dead and Batman and all these like very simple kind of investigatory license lore expansion type of game. So Stranger Things was going to get one of those and was going to give you all kinds of weird backstory, let you play from different perspectives, characters, and whatever.
I like that.
Telltale, they did, I think, a Walking Dead game,
Right.
maybe several, also Game of Thrones.
Right, they did the Game of Thrones ones, which I
Batman.
really like, are really well done. They have all the actors from the show doing all the voice acting, and
It's
it's
a
really
choose
good
your own
dialogue.
adventure kind of
Yeah,
game.
it's like a choose your own, like a live action choose your own adventure thing. You have to, it gives you a little timer when they like say something to you. You have to choose one of 3 dialogue options.
Quick time event. QTE. Points.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Take it.
So
Ask the judges.
So Telltale shuttered. They're basically done. They've kept on a skeleton crew, and they're gonna like basically scrap the company. But Netflix announced on Friday that they are going to still continue to produce the Stranger Things game despite the collapse of Telltale.
Good.
So, which to
Really?
me would mark
So
the
they're
first
getting into
time
games now?
Netflix
Oh
has
my
gotten
God.
into producing or at least funding the production of a video game,
Could
which is
they do
fucking
it?
extremely cool.
Could they do it through their interface?
No, you can't play a game through that, but you could.
if it's
Steam,
a choose your own
you could
adventure?
launch like if you were in Netflix and the thing said, "Hey, you want to play the
Oh, you
game?" You
could
could just
actually.
like kick open the game from there.
Mandaddy has a point though. You could do a choose your own adventure.
I bet you they could. I bet you
Well,
they
the
could hack it up
controls in
together.
Netflix- yeah, I mean,
like
for
when
sure.
you think about how you go from chapter to chapter or episode to episode.
fucking tree.
I'm sure they could somehow incorporate that in and make it. If
Looking
they
at
could
a
make it
player-
part of Netflix, that would be their number one thing to do.
That would be
Because
really
people
cool.
would not expect that at all.
That would be super cool. I agree. So yeah, cool video game. I like that. And so another little tidbit that I got, another video game that we appreciate here at the Fort, Friday the 13th.
it's fun.
Miss Fritz is a big fan of it.
She is.
The Miss Fritz.
Gun Media. They did.
big friend of the show, actually, Miss Fritz.
Yes.
She's,
Oh, yes.
yeah. So, Gun Media, actually, perfect reference there. They are the producer of the game, right? They're the publishing company.
Yeah.
But the studio that worked on the game was
Ilphonic, I think.
Ilphonic,
Ilphonic.
correct.
Really?
Points.
Boom.
That's a point.
Wow.
So Ilphonic was the studio where the engineers worked. They actually created the content, etc.
Beautiful game,
They
too.
rolled off of the project recently. The last couple of maps were developed by a studio called Black Tower Studios.
So it was like
And-
sublet.
Correct. So basically, they have sunset the original engineering team that worked on the game, and now they have a new group of people coming in.
They weren't getting money. They weren't getting any kind of cooperation from the Friday the 13th franchise either. They had specific scenes in mind that they wanted to recreate, and that was when
They've
the
been told
Friday
no.
the 13th franchise just stopped them and said, okay, look, we understand, but you have to move on. And they're like, well, we will license these. And they're like, no, we're done with you.
That's a good insider bit of information, because I wondered what the break was there, and that type of shit will absolutely shut down relationships like that, where somebody wants to kind of take, exactly, like say, hey, we want to do this thing, and somebody's very protective about it, and that type of stuff falls apart. So agreed.
It is.
So I looked up the studio. I hadn't heard of this Black Tower Studio, so I looked them up. Right, they have one video game credited to their name, and it's called Magus, or I'm sorry, Magus.
Okay.
Magus. Action, and from the Wikipedia article, it's an action role-playing adventure game for the PlayStation 3 developed by Black Tower Studios and Axis Games. The title has become infamous due to the negative reception it received from critics upon release.
Oh, no, that's not good.
That's part of your Wikipedia.
Yeah.
It's got a 1.5 for hardcore gamer. I've never heard of that. But Metacritic, it got a 33 out of 100, which is fucking abysmal. Like most things are like limping in at 50, 60, stuff like that. So
Jesus
30 is like people hated it. But I like this tidbit. Magus received mostly poor reviews. It was criticized for its dated graphics, lackluster gameplay, and poorly written dialogue and voice acting. The dialogue, however, has been stated as unintentionally hilarious and probably the game's greatest selling point. Jeff Thu of Hardcore Gamer gave the game a 1 out of 5, calling it a perfect storm of terrible ideas and botched execution, but found the game endlessly enjoyable in spite of itself.
Wow. That's like an Ed Wood.
Yeah.
Like it's a glowing Ed Wood.
It's the room. The room of video games.
Well, way before that, it was like Plane 9 from Outer Space is like, my God, this movie is just so laughable. Like you can see boom microphone like shadowing, like when like bright lights happen. And Glenn Danzig from the Misfits, just a seminal punk band. The Crimson Ghost always looks over us. We have like a Fiend Club jacket here.
Why is he always white?
Glenn Danzig because of the
skull.
movie.
But he's the
That
crimson
too,
wants your
yeah.
skull.
But Glenn Danzig actually was so motivated by that movie way before it was cool. He named his record label Plan 9 Records.
Yep.
Nice.
And the graveyard scene with the obvious cardboard tombstones.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many amazingly bad things about that movie.
It's going to be unplayable.
It's like, if Tommy Wiseau took over direction of the Friday the 13th video game franchise and then like had all of his creative ideas injected into it. And
It's going to be really bad.
So I'm excited. I'm excited for like how terrifyingly either bad or awesome it could be. Maybe this is their turning
or
point.
awesomely bad.
So these are all updates to the Friday the 13th.
I imagine this is
game?
probably moving forward into, like I talked about, like a sequel for it. They've run like 2. They haven't announced it
Saturday
yet.
the 14th.
Like, nice.
Yeah, they're gonna have to come up with something because I mean,
Well, so
they've
and they
burnt
did
all
say
of their
right. They did say that they're continuing to do maintenance updates and bug fixing and stuff like that for the duration. And yeah, I think when they do that, typically they're going to release a second one, announce it, and
Masky Stabby Man.
Stabby Lake.
Stabby Lake. We're sending the kids away to vacation for the summer.
Camp Stabby Lake.
Camp Stabby Lake.
All right.
What could go wrong?
Hold on, be honest. If your best friend came up and goes, "Have you played this game, Stabby Lake?" Would you be like,
on it.
"No, but tell me about it"?
No, absolutely. Play the game, yes. Go there, no.
So yeah, that's what I got.
It's insane that like I mean, movie studios. Jesus Christ. You've already made your movie. Like, come on. This is the wave of the future. Like, I thought that Friday the 13th game, it was so enjoyable. That's how games should go.
It's that asymmetric online thing, right? Like you have a weird kind of online experience.
Also,
and you're in it.
Fans, though, who want to fucking do the franchise right. You couldn't have asked for a better partnership, I thought. Like, that game was just...
We'll see where it goes, but I hold high hopes for it. It definitely it sold me initially with just how kind of cheesy it kind of seemed, and then it was just really fucking fun and really deep, and it ended up being a lot of fun. So we'll see how Black Tower Studio does with it after the Magus debacle. What do you got for us, Mandaddy?
Got a few things. In the middle of a few things right now watching. Just started Maniac on Netflix.
I've
that
been
is
wanting to watch that.
Only seen one episode. I've only seen one episode so far, and it's quite interesting. It's very Brazil to me. Has very much the feel of the movie Brazil.
Terry Gilliam.
Terry Gilliam.
Gilliam.
Yeah. It's Emma Stone. It's
Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill. It looks so different now, and he's such a great actor and such out of type from what he started out as being. And it's a very mind trip kind of, you can't tell if it's futuristic or past kind of environment, and it involves psychoactive drugs that make you live other lives. And so I'm just starting it.
What the fuck?
I'm just starting it. It's really interesting.
Like a Thursday.
And I swear,
Go to work.
in the first episode, I think they're using binaural tones.
Oh,
Because
nice.
there's certain sounds and stuff that really kind of got to me, and then certain waves, sounds they had in the background that really started like trancing me out away. So I really wouldn't be surprised they were using binaural tones.
So what is a binaural tone? Is it like a binaural Jones? How do you spell it? How do you spell that?
I have no freaking idea. Never asked me how to spell
Jones?
it.
How did you mean
That was really good, though. That was really good.
Binaura.
Neural.
It's a type of tone. I'm not completely up on the subject, but it's where two
like the
tones
brown note
so
for your brain.
slight. Basically, it's two notes that are so slightly off and moving that they just can affect people in different ways. Like one of my cats can't stay. I have a thing that makes binaural tones. I turn that thing on and Genghis is out of the room immediately.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Aw,
he can't stand
what
it.
are you
so
doing?
I put on my headphones and stop laughing.
So what I know of that, it's bioral, like B-I.
Binaural.
Oral for
Yeah, not
hearing.
binaural. So
Binaural beats. Because the tone is like, let's say you have 440A, which is concert tuning. When you get into a symphony early and you hear that drum, that's 440 concert A. So they will have that 440 concert A or lower, so 220. And then they will have a 218, 217, 216. And it'll create an automatic beat, but it will either make you insane or it will calm you.
yeah, you can
One of those two things.
Yes.
either or, and you don't know which
Sounds
it's going
like
to be.
my life.
Well, you can really manipulate that small area of life, and you can make people either
Touches the
and
lizard brain.
It's really easy to do that.
Well, wasn't that the whole thing about the Russian attacks on like the Cuban embassy and the Chinese embassy?
Yeah,
They were
the
thinking about doing
frequencies.
essentially wave radiation. Like
Oh, imagine if it was just
Attacks.
slightly off, but like
Always there.
hundreds of frequencies too loud, so you're like, ow, like fucking.
that's
ow.
terrifying, man. That shit's terrifying.
It is terrifying.
So that's
Seth Rogen's in on that shit.
Yep.
he's always in on that shit.
James Franco.
And there's always like two James Francos now.
Yeah, why?
There's always
There's
like
two James Francos.
Yeah, they're just multiplying now.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah, they're making more. We need more James Francos. One day at home, I was trying to think of James Franco's name, and I couldn't think of his name, and I said to my wife, "Everything Boy." She goes, "Oh, James Franco."
Good backstory. Yeah.
Just
There you
immediately,
go.
Everything
That's
Boy.
fair.
But a movie I saw this weekend that I thought was quite enjoyable, quite interesting, called Summer of '84. And it's very much in the Stranger Things vibe of doing the '80s and doing it very,
Nice.
very right. And I would be the exact same age as the character in '84, so I was like, everything he was doing was like, I had that freaking shirt, I played that game,
Aw.
and also I showed you the shot where they're in a video game arcade and Polybius is
Yeah,
there.
Polybius.
Yeah, it's right there in the arcade. I was like, motherfucker.
Again, I was in my bathtub listening to Voivod. I got that.
There you go. And by the way, listen to Voivod. Listen to the new Voivod album, The
Dude.
Wake. It's the best metal album of the year. They're space metal. They're my favorite damn band. I'm very attached to Voivod, so listen to Voivod, The Wake. Damn it.
It's not bad at all.
It's
fucking
freaking
great.
amazing.
It's a great album.
But Summer of '84. It's I guess it would not be a horror movie according to Mr. Kaz.
Be a thriller?
It would not. It was I guess maybe thriller, mystery. It's the main thing about it is it's just really good with tension. And it has very much the old school John Carpenter music, the old synthy kind of music that that John Carpenter was so famous for.
Awesome.
And like, there is no murder, there is no killing that happens pretty much for the entire movie. They reference things that have happened, and kids have been disappearing in the neighborhood, and they're trying to figure out who it is, and they think they knew who it is. That old trope of trying to figure out is the creepy neighbor or is he the murderer? That kind of trope, and they just go with it, and it just does tension really well.
Right.
There's so many times you're like, get out of there, just get out, and it's not even like there's some scary monster coming. You haven't seen anyone get murdered throughout the entire damn movie. There's no blood scares. There's no gore. There's a few good jump scares, but it's just more a study in tension and just the aura of it, I guess, having the whole 80s vibe, doing that well, and just really good tension.
That's awesome.
It's not a slow burn, but it's not an action movie. It's just kind of does its thing, and it just takes you into a story and lets you feel a vibe and get some tension. And then the ending is excellent. The ending I freaking loved because it just did something really nice at the ending that I haven't seen done that well. And it makes me go, okay, they better do a freaking sequel.
Ooh,
they better do the summer of
no,
they need to go way in the future. They need to go if they go 10, 20 years into the future, it'd be awesome.
The winter of '84. Just a couple months later.
This kid's having a really fucked up year. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I would give it 5.5 to 6 beer pulls. Once again,
wow.
I always judge it depending on how you're feeling.
Yeah.
If you don't like slow burns and you don't like pieces like that, then you'd probably go more to the 5. But if you're a movie fan and you like just being taken somewhere for a little while and having some good tension thrown at you, I definitely recommend Summer of '84.
Let me just say that I feel like our discussion about the nuance of horror versus suspense versus thriller, I feel like I might have hastily judged you because somebody who would sit through a movie and appreciate the fact that it was a study in tension is a very it's a horror movie nuance, like a critic kind of thing. I like hats off to you, sir.
Just where you are, edge of your seat feel.
I like that. And I'm going to check it out.
Yeah.
Hats off to you, but also remember, Mandaddy, no one has erected a statue for a critic.
Oh, damn right. That's why I'm
not
not
going to make a fucking horror movie with tension.
Wow.
Ease off your fucking bullshit ego, all right?
With your 5.5 out of 6, like
first of all, I don't have a bullshit ego. I
you?
just have an ego. But that's why all of my reviews I give pretty high scores because I don't watch shit I don't like.
Oh, I know, baby. I know.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that this is horrible. I can't wait till it's over so I can say how bad it is.
And
I've seen people on Facebook and stuff where it seems like, do you just watch shit that you hate
know.
just so you can bitch about it later?
Constant.
I don't get that.
Constant complaining.
Do you ever sit through 5-10 minutes of something? And go, nah, fuck this.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll give anything like 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. But there's been plenty of times, especially me and my wife will be watching. We know it's just like we got plenty else to watch. Woo,
So I want a list of those. I want to know the rejects.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'll have to look at that. I'm sure I could find some.
The next time it happens, I'll know.
And some will go back. Sometimes it's not the right time.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of times you're like, this is not what I'm in
this.
the mood for right now.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. That is what we do. That is our Minisode. That is when we just sit around and talk about crap. You also need to check out the full episodes. That's when we tell stories and have sound effects, new theater of the mind, and just kind of mess with you on a higher level than we do right now. So please keep checking us out. Please share us if you can. Subscribe in any way you can. Stitcher, iTunes, Libsyn. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're on every damn platform. If you just look for Fort Fritz, you'll find us at some capacity. We're on iHeartRadio. And, of course, we're on Spotify. The big one, the Spotify. You can check us out on pretty much any damn platform, and you can always share it and tell other people about the Fort Fritz goodness. Spread the love, and we will spread more. You're listening to Fort Fritz.
Guaranteed.